You must be looking forward to the day. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jason. Yes, looking forward to the day, and got some handy sort of rides on paper, and so yeah, should be a good day's racing.
Tell us about the son of Nadim Air Max. We saw your thoughts post the Dunedin Guineas. You needed a magic wand to get yourself out of a sticky situation, but you also had a pretty good horse that helped you do that.
Look, you're as good as the kettle you get on, aren't you? And I mean, this horse has done a fantastic job here, Max, winning the Gall Guineas, then coming back to a better track at Dunedin and winning the Dunedin Guineas emphatically. Today we've had overnight rain. The track has come out at a slow 8. We're just having a few little showers here again this morning, and there is a possibility the track could just deteriorate a wee bit through the day.
How will he cope with that? He seemed to cope okay in the Gall Guineas, but sort of the feeling was that on top of the ground would be no issue either. How do you expect him to cope with the track as it will present?
Oh, look, I can't really worry about it. The day when it Gall, the track was deteriorating wee bit that day too. So, I mean, I can't control anything about that, but I think he'll acquit himself pretty well. I was talking to Lance at the track this morning. The horse has travelled well. He's very happy with the way he's travelled. He's worked well through the week, and he looks magnificent in the coat.
How highly do you rate this horse, given what he had to overcome in the Gall Guineas? It sustained an early check. I know that Lee Calloway was on that day, but you would have seen that run and what he overcame at Dunedin. How highly do you rate the horse?
Yes, well, I mean, I do rate him quite highly. There is a possibility he may later on look at the Wellington Guineas. The big tracks I think would be nice and suit him. When he lets down, he's put some really long strides in, and hopefully the bigger tracks will suit him. It's not set in concrete. That'll be probably depends on the result today and how he travels home. But on paper he looks a very, very good ride in the Southern Guineas, and if he does win it, he's the first horse since Fritzy Boy won it some years ago. So it's no mean feat, but I think I've got the horse that can do it.
It's quite a different shape of track, the Ascot Park circuit to Wingatui, and it's a smaller field that might not be run at sort of much pace. He's drawn okay. Where do you want to position him, or where would be ideal positioning for him?
Look, I'm not going to worry where I end up, but as you just pointed out, the only horse I could see was John Parsons trying to may possibly end up in front again. So we possibly could just end up a little bit handier today, just the way the race might pan out. But it would be nice to see the race run at a good tempo, just the same. I prefer that than just a muddling cant around a sprint home.
You've ridden some high quality horses, obviously, for Matt and Mandy Brown when they were training. Where does this guy sit at this stage of his career?
Oh, I've been very fortunate. I've ridden a lot of nice horses over the years, but look, this horse has just stepped up. He's, if I'll be perfectly honest, the first couple of races, did I think he'd be a Guineas winner? No, possibly not, but he's taken that leap of faith and stepped forward and seems to keep producing and has just kept improving. And when they do that, really, you just don't know where they're going to take you. But his win at Dunedin was very emphatic. Like I said, I was looking for a magic wand to find a gap. I didn't know where it was come, but when the gap did present, he really let down and put himself into it nicely. So the horse can sprint well and has got a good turn of foot, and he shows a bit of brilliance. So don't worry, he's a pretty smart horse, I think.
Yeah, sort of pick that underlying confidence up. I know it's racing and there are variables, but are you going out there expecting to win on him?
Well, you it's the sort of thing you always respect the opposition. As Weaponry was a wee bit unlucky the other day, and I also thought that the horse of Danny Crozier's got home very well. So, I mean, you've got to respect them all, but yes, I do think I'm on the best horse in the race, and you've got to ride him accordingly.
Yeah, Upscale, she was pretty good, wasn't she? You're looking forward to
Yes.
the Southland Guineas featuring Air Max. You've got a decent book of rides outside of him in race number 10. Having a look at the market for that, you've got Morel Mac. What are you expecting from Morel Mac this time, given that you rode him into fourth last time on this track?
It was a very good eye-catching run last start. When running fourth, it was 1400, it was a wee bit short from. We're stepping up to a mile today. I think that'll help. I'm not sure about the track, whether he'll like it or not. I think a little bit further down the track, I would like prefer. I think he'll even get further over a mile. Those 2,000 metres, I think, would be more his go. But it was a very, very eye-catching run, and I'm expecting a good run today. The only thing is he does get back a little bit, so he's going to rely on a little wee bit of luck just the same. But it was a very, very good good run last start. It was an eye-catching run of a horse that can produce next time out.
Yeah, interesting runner. I suppose a couple of starts ago it was 1,200 metres, so maybe the trip was a little short for it, but that was on that rain-affected track at Gore and didn't sort of really seem to handle that. But its only winners come on a heavy track. Any sort of feeling that he might get through track conditions?
Look, I haven't read too much into that. Like I said, it could deteriorate, so that may just come into his favour a wee bit too. So if he cops it, it'll be more like a decent mile, which, as I said to you, I think a mile we'd probably prefer just a little bit further too. So that could even pay into his favour a wee bit.
Having a look at your book of rides overall, Terry, we acknowledge that Air Max is probably your best of them. It's certainly short odds-wise he is. Outside of Air Max, you've got Shock and Awe, Get Rhythm, The Flagon, Cody Cove, Nightcap, Shirley Morden. We touched on Morel Mac. Who would be the best of those?
I think I've got a couple of chances. Kerry Cove was freshened up a wee bit, back to a mile the other day, coming back from 2,600 metres a couple of starts before. He gave me a real nice feel, like he'd freshened him up a wee bit, and he could go all right too. And Shirley Maud's form has been impeccable. I think a little bit of a mare. Let me down a little bit last start, but prior form was good, and I think she'll give a good sight too.